Hello, this is Mr. Cooper, and welcome to Bournemouth School's GCSE Revision Videocast.
Hello and welcome to this videocast. Before moving on to the particular topic in question, it's worth reminding ourselves of some exam tips. First of all, avoid using phrases like all Christians think and overgeneralizing. Rather than backing yourself into that corner, use phrases like some Christians may. Also, when using specific religious quotes and teachings, it's worth applying them directly to the topic in question. If you are merely listing religious quotes and teachings, you won't be looking at the higher grades. Rather, explain how they relate. To ensure you are linking them directly to the statement in question, use phrases like "this means that." Finally, a word of caution on the use of quotation marks. If you know the direct word-for-word quote, by all means use quotation marks. However, if you're paraphrasing, don't put the teaching in quotation marks, but it will still be relevant and get you credit. For example, saying something like, "Jesus suggested that you should love your neighbour," wouldn't be a direct quote, so don't use quotation marks. So, what will this video do? First of all, it will give you key topic headings on the particular unit we'll be looking at. Second of all, it will list a selection of relevant religious quotes and teachings. Finally, it will give you some sample exam questions, both AO1 and AO2, to practice. You must use this to help you learn, apply, and practice. This topic is religious attitudes to the elderly and death. The following topic headings are suggestions of the essential areas that you will need to know, learn and revise. First of all, the differences and debate between sanctity of life and quality of life. The belief that quality of life is more important, or the belief that life is precious. Next of all, you should know about ageism, both in society and at work. The next area and issue is that of retirement and the prejudices and discrimination surrounding those who are retired, as well as the difficulties, benefits and possible disadvantages when it comes to care homes. The next crucial area to know about is that of hospice care which focuses on palliative care, or relief of suffering rather than curing. You will also need to know about life support machines, including terms such as being in a persistent vegetative state or in a minimally conscious state. Knowing about the idea and definition of death is also very important. Central to this unit is the idea of euthanasia, which is an incredibly topical debate. So to use topical information would be an excellent way to gain extra marks. You will also need to know and be able to discuss the differences between active and passive euthanasia. Lastly, you'll be able to discuss the different religious and non-religious beliefs about life after death. Including Buddhism, Christianity, and also humanism would be a good alternative. If you can do all of these things, sanctity and quality of life, ageism, care homes, hospice care, life support machines and death, euthanasia, and life after death, you will have covered the main topic areas. Some key Buddhist teachings that you may wish to use then. These might include the blind turtle story, the idea that life as a human is as rare as a blind turtle in an ocean sticking its head up through a golden hoop every 100 years. In essence, life as a human is very rare and should be cherished. Central to Buddhism is the idea that suffering needs to be reduced. So this can be built into the idea of hospice care and euthanasia in particular. Lots of actions in Buddhism centre around compassion and loving kindness. Indeed, if you go to the Dalai Lama's Twitter feed, you'll find compassion as one of the most frequented words. Being able to talk about compassion when it came to things like ageism, care homes and life support machines is a really important application of that teaching. You may also wish to reference the quote, which is the first of the 5 precepts or guidelines for living in society: "I will avoid taking life." Similarly, ahimsa, or the principle of non-violence, is a good teaching to use and apply. Actions should focus on the step of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is the right intention. So if an action is performed from the right intention, or a compassionate and selfless intention, it may be a more moral Buddhist action. Penultimately, it's really important, particularly in the life after death and the euthanasia aspects of this unit, to talk about Buddhism and its belief about the state of mind at death shaping the next life. So if the state of mind is one of anxiety, pain and terror, then it might negatively impact the next life as opposed to being at a peaceful state of mind. As related to the blind turtle story, and finally, Buddhism holds that life is sacred and should be cherished, not that it belongs to God, because Buddhism does not believe or worship a personal deity. To Christian teachings then. First of all, and most commonly used, I'm sure, is the teaching from the book of Job, "The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away," well applied to areas of euthanasia and turning off life support machines. Christians believe, as it says in Genesis, that man is made in God's image, so life is sacred and belongs to God, or sanctity of life. Being able to use the golden rule of Jesus, love your neighbour as yourself, when it comes to actions of hospice care and retirements as well as care homes, would be a good use of that central teaching. Please, though, don't overuse this in every single question. It needs to be applied specifically. Thou shalt not murder is one of the 10 Commandments. And if we were to talk about denominations, a Church of England generally adheres to and follows the UK law, particularly when it comes to passive euthanasia being acceptable under some circumstances. Roman Catholics generally oppose euthanasia and often see active euthanasia as murder, and in contrast, Dutch Protestants believe that euthanasia may be acceptable because God wouldn't want us to suffer. Talking about the alternative to euthanasia as hospice care from a Christian perspective is really important, because hospice care was originally a Christian movement, and so many Christians would see hospice care as opposed to euthanasia as the most moral alternative. Finally, you may use the idea that God gave us free will, and so we should be able to decide what we do with our lives. These teachings give you a balance to be able to agree and disagree and discuss many of the areas of this unit. Some sample exam questions then. First of all, on the AO1 side, we would talk about something like define ageism. Next, explain religious attitudes towards hospices for 5 marks. On the AO2 side, a statement such as euthanasia is murder may be given. What do you think? Explain your opinion. And finally, there is no such thing as life after death. A 6 marker, do you agree? Give reasons for your answer, showing that you've thought about more than one point of view. Refer to religious beliefs and teachings in your answer. Hopefully this video has been helpful, and remember to learn, apply and practice. Thanks for listening.